Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am introducing you to my new TBR game. This is called TBR Snail Trail and I am very excited about it. So if you didn't know about me, I love snails. They are my favorite animal. Escargot would be very proud if you get that reference. Let me know in the comments. But anyways, this is the new board. It is a board game style TBR game. So very different from what I have been playing, but I'm very excited about it. So let's get into the explanation of the board and I will talk about the rules as we go on. So first I want to talk about the spaces and all of that, and then I'll go into the rules and how I'm going to play it. So we have three different kinds of spaces on the board. We have the regular stone paths, so these that have nothing on them. We have these over here that have snails on them, and then we have these which are puddles. So there are 3 snails and 3 puddles on the board, and then the rest are the regular stone path. We also have this little log bridge here, which operates the same way it does in like Candyland or a game like that, where it lets you go forward in the game. As far as the spaces, so I have 2 different kinds of cards. The first one is the prompt card, so that's in these. So this is what they look like. The prompt cards are green, and then on the back they have the prompt. And then I have these cards, which are blue, and you'll see there's like a little snail on the mushroom that wasn't there on the green cards. And then this is where you'll see the different TBR games and also little snailies on top of the mushrooms. So the difference in the 2 cards, so the green cards I have many more of, and these are my regular prompt cards. So anytime that I land on one of the white stone path, I will pull from here and we'll get just a regular prompt. These are the same prompts that were on my deck of TBR. There are, I think, some added ones, and then I removed some ones that were no longer relevant or that I just didn't like. So those are the prompt cards, and then these, the Snail Friends cards, are all different TBR games. So I think there's 24 in here. Some of them I haven't recreated, so first play around I'll be removing those, but different TBR games. And when I land on the snails, you guessed it, we'll play a Snail Friends TBR game. So it's kind of like I ran into another snail and we're playing a game together, and I will get a random card from here and it will tell me which TBR game that I'm going to be playing. I will have a playlist linked down below that have one of the videos for each of these TBR games, so that you can go see the people who inspired these cards, because I just think that's fun, and if you haven't seen their TBR games, then you will be introduced to somebody new. So those will be down below. And then the puddles, I'll be using my TBR jar. So I'll be drawing from my TBR jar at random for those. I don't have it, it's over there because I was updating it this morning and I forgot to bring it over here when I was filming. But basically it's just a little ceramic jar with all of the books on my physical TBR, as well as my digital TBR in there to pull from. So those are the 3 different spaces, or 3 different types of spaces, and let's jump into what the rules are for the game. Alright, so unlike my previous TBR game where I would set the number of rolls or the number of card draws from the beginning of the month, so I would know approximately how many books I was going to read or have on my TBR that month, and any of the little different circumstances would lead to additional books being added. This one, however, is going to operate differently. So I'm not going to know how many books that I will be putting on my TBR at the beginning of the game. It can vary widely. So there are 30 spots on the board, and each of those spots is a potential book. So the way that I'm going to be, basically I have to go from start to finish in one game, and however many spots or prompts I pull between the two is how many books will be on my TBR. Now, I couldn't decide on which die to use because I did the probability and I played it out just to try some different things, and the results were wide. So I've added a different extra element to this. So I have 3 dice. Why did I say that so funny? I have 3 dice here. I have a D12, I have a D10, and I have a D8. So what I'll be doing is at the beginning of the game, I will roll all 3 of these, and then whichever one has the lowest value is the one that I will be using for the game. My rationale here is that statistically, the D8 would have the highest likelihood of having a low number, but obviously that's not always going to be the case. It's random. So I would have, basically I'm hedging my bets towards more books versus less books. So I will roll those, and then whichever one has the lowest value is the one I'll use for the rest of the game. So that is going to be how I will navigate the board, but the die also has sort of an extra thing to it, which is, depending on which one of these I pick, depends on how many books will be in a stack that I will use to pick my last book. So if I roll the D10, then I'll make a stack of 10 books that I will show you at the beginning of the game. And when I get to the end of the game, the last number that I roll, so whatever takes me into the end space, is going to be the number or which book in that stack that I will be reading, in addition to any prompts that I pulled. So I can put whatever books I want to into that stack. So it could be, you know, all books that I really want to read. It could be mostly books I want to read and 1 or 2 books that I need to read, or, you know, ones that I'm less excited about, ones that I'm more excited about. We'll see. That I can vary by month, so I think that's going to be a fun added thing. I was trying to figure out, because it felt weird to just like land here and not get anything for landing on the end of the game, but that's what I have chosen to do, which leads me to kind of another explanation of how I will be going about picking the books. I have always, even with Deck of TBR, picked the books at the end. So I would do all of the card draws, and unless it was a TBR jar pull, I would do all of them at the end of the game. So that is how I'm going to continue to do this, which means that essentially the first book that will go on my TBR will be whatever this rolls for, unless I obviously have TBR jar picks. That way I can still use the books in that stack to fulfill other prompts if they fit, without getting to the end and not having 10 or 12 or 8 books. So just sort of a disclaimer there, or I guess transparency in the way that I have always played TBR games and will continue to play TBR games. So I think that is all of the rules. No penalties, because I just don't do that. That's not the point of this. Mostly I treat a TBR game as a way to help me decide what from my physical TBR I want to read during a month, because sometimes I just get overwhelmed and then I just don't pick anything. This month being case in point, we're, 10 days into the month and I still have only read, I think, 2 books, because I didn't do a TBR at the beginning of the month and I don't know what to pick. So with all of that said, I am going to jump into my February TBR so that we can see how this plays in actuality. I've got my little Lego snail guy here as my piece, so yes, let's jump into that. Please forgive me, the angle is going to be garbage because I realized that I need a tripod that has like an overhead thing. So that is to come later on, probably for April, because those are expensive tripods and and I just don't feel like spending that money right this moment. So yes, forgive me for the angle. It will be better in the future, but for now, we're just gonna roll with it. All right, first things first, we're gonna roll the dice. Okay, well, we got 2 4s, so we're gonna re-roll the 2 4s. They were both the lowest number. And we have a 2 on, it's not focusing, there we go. The 2 is on the D12, so we're gonna be rolling a D12 for this game. So let me create my stack of 12 books and I will be right back. All right, so there we go. We have Infinite Country, Heartstopper Volume 4, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Blonde Roots, Sea State, Goliath, Amari and the Night Brothers, South to America, The Travelers, Swimming Lessons, The People We Keep, and A Snake Falls to Earth. So those are the 12 books. So one of these will be selected by the final roll of the game. All right, you can see the whole board. It's not beautiful, but this is what we're going with. So put our piece there. Let's find out what we're going to be reading in the month of February. Is that a 1? Yep, that's a 1. All right, so our first prompt, I do not think I shuffled these, so I'm gonna give these a good mix. Our first prompt is high rated. All right, for high rated, we're gonna be going with Amari and the Night Brothers. This is a middle grade book about a girl who, I think her magic is illegal and her brother goes missing and she gets invited to some kind of school or something. And she seizes it as a way to look for her brother. Scribd has this on audio, so I am going to be listening to it on audio, and I can't wait. This is going to be a fun one, I think. All right, and we got a 3, so this is going great. This is what I mean, that's a D12. Theoretically, it should be less rolls, but it is not. We have letter, so we're going to be doing a random letter to find out what we're going to be picking. For letter, we're going to be generating a random letter for us to pick, and it has to be, I'm going to try to get it in the title of the book, like as the front of the title, but I can also use author. So let's generate it 3 times, and whatever the third one is, oh, right here. Infinite Country is right on the top of that stack. I don't know a whole lot about this. I think that it has to do, it's like maybe an immigration story or a family that is separated. So is this the one where, yes, so I think the main character has been arrested and she needs to get out of jail in order to make a flight to be reunited with her family, something like that. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I've seen it everywhere, so I saw it at McKay's and grabbed it. So that one is going on the TBR for random letter. Next we have, oh, we have a 4. So we're gonna be pulling from here. Hold on, I gotta take out the ones that I don't actually have. All right, there we go. So the first TBR, oh, well, that's a little anticlimactic, but the first TBR game is gonna be my choice. And I am actually going to be picking, let me pull it out of the deck. I'm gonna be picking this one, which is Tic Tac TBR. I will link the video down below of the booktuber who inspired this one. Basically, I don't know if you can read that tiny text, but Tic Tac TBR is basically a tic-tac-toe inspired game, but I'm going to be doing, filling in the whole board and then doing a mini readathon. So I'm looking forward to that. Mid-month book bash is coming up this weekend, so that'll be great for that. For the TBR game, which is Tic Tac TBR, I went ahead and generated the prompts off camera because I had to fill in all of my prompts into the spreadsheet and then generate it. And I just didn't want to do all of that on screen because it was just a lot. So I'm going to put it up here so that you can see the different prompts that I got, and it was actually really nice to me. So I have a book between 250 and 350 pages, which is most of my books. Current year acquisition, great. 2020 release, great. Treat yourself, already did that. Set in the future, graphic novel, fantasy, mystery or thriller, and queer rep. So there's some repeats from the prompts, not repeats particularly, but books I have in my stack to read this month also fit some of those prompts, which leads me to say that this is not like I have to pick one of those and pick a book. The way this is going to work is that I will treat it as a vlog, and I will just vlog the experience and see if I can get a bingo. I'm going to do that, like I said, for mid-month book bash, which starts Friday. I may start it early tomorrow. Yeah, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So that is my Tic Tac TBR bingo board, not bingo, tic-tac-toe board. And I can use the books from my already picked TBR to fit those prompts and just have fun with it. All right, we have an 8. We're moving along finally, and we have hashtag queer reads, which is a book from the hashtag queer reads hashtag on Instagram. We're going to be going to Instagram, putting in that hashtag, and let's see what our options are. Let's go to recent because I don't care about the top ones. I just scrolled for like 5 minutes, and the only thing that I currently own that would work for this is Heartstopper Volume 4, so I'm gonna have to switch up and do Heartstopper Volume 4 for this. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have, oh, that works out great. We have a sci-fi book. So for sci-fi, I'm going to be reading Goliath. I'm very excited about this. This is one of my most anticipated reads for 2022. I had it on hold at the library, and instead I just went and bought it. So this is about basically the exodus from Earth and how that plays out in terms of like class structure. So like how the different socioeconomic and racial divides play into the exodus from Earth. And I'm really, really curious about this take on kind of a pretty well-known sci-fi trope, that being the exodus from Earth. But yeah, I just think this is going to be really fresh and new, and I can't wait to get into it. And we have an 8. Of course. All right, we're just maxing out here on the rolls. So, oh no. We have a long book. So, long book for a short month. Great. I'm cheating just a little bit because normally when I say long book, I mean a book over 500 pages. But since February is a short month and I'm getting a late start on this, I'm gonna give myself some slack here. This book, South to America, The Journey Below the Mason-Dixon Line to Understand the Soul of a Nation, is 400 pages, although some of that 400 pages is the index, so probably a little bit more of a cheat than necessary, but I'm really excited about this one. I just picked this up at my local indie bookstore, and this is one of my most anticipated reads of 2022. This is a nonfiction book about the South and how basically the influences the South have had on our country, on the US and whatnot. And I, as someone who has lived the majority of my life in the South, am very interested about what this has to say. So I'm very, very excited to get into this one. And then this roll is literally just to decide which book in the stack we are going to be reading. And it is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is Sea State. So this is what I'll be reading for the final roll. This is a nonfiction about a woman who goes to live on an oil rig. I think the point is to see what men's friendships are, or like how men act when women aren't present, though she's a woman and she's gonna be present, so I find that part of this confusing, but I'm very interested to read this, and it has such a beautiful cover. All of that to say, this was a pretty successful video, probably extremely long with the explanation of the board and playing the game, but we'll get in a groove with this like we did with, I keep saying we're not the royal we. I will get in a groove with this over the next few months, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So let me know how you feel about the game. Do you like it? Is it exciting? These are the books that I'm planning to read this month. A little ambitious, to be honest, but we'll see. I have already started Goliath, so yeah, I'll be continuing on with that, but I will see you guys next time, and look for that vlog with the Tic Tac TBR to see how I did with that. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed the new TBR game, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!